Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We really do appreciate your time and your attention. I see here we have some regular visitors who have joined us all year, and we really appreciate that, and we hope that we have increased your knowledge base and contributed to your bottom line, and that's why we're here. Today, our topic is the differences between the Energy Star program, the Certified Subcomponent Database, also known as the CSD, and the DesignLights Consortium, also known as the DLC. So we'll break this down, go over them one at a time. And before we begin, I'd like to thank you all again for attending. We do this 12 times a year for the open public and many, many other times during the year on a private one-on-one basis for individual rep agencies, ESCOs, utility groups, associations, and so on. And we really do appreciate your time and attention. Let's get started. Today we're going to cover Energy Star. What is the Energy Star program? A little bit about its history and where they're at today. CSD, what they're really there for and who they're there for, and the standards that are required to get your products on that list. And then last but certainly not least is the DLC, the DesignLights Consortium. And a lot of the confusion is coming from distribution and ESCOs between DLC and Energy Star, and a lot of confusion between Energy Star and the CSD when it comes to manufacturers choosing the light engines for their Energy Star luminaires. So we'll break that down and make that easy to follow. So a little bit about the Energy Star history. Energy Star was created through the EPA. It's an Environmental Protection Agency program. It's voluntary. In other words, American manufacturers are not bound to meet these standards, but it's a voluntary program. In 1992, the Energy Star program was directed to conduct a basic engineering research and technology program to develop, evaluate, and demonstrate non-regulatory strategies for technologies for reducing air pollution. So that was their mandate. What could they do in a non-regulatory way? And I think we all know that they were pretty successful in putting together a set of standards that manufacturers could voluntarily meet and then be part of the Energy Star program. In 2005, there was an Energy Policy Act that was created, and that established the DOE and the EPA to identify and promote energy-efficient products, energy-efficient buildings, basically to reduce energy consumption, improve energy security, and reduce pollution. And again, this is a voluntary program. Now, the integrity of the Energy Star program is all about the third-party certification or verification, as one might call it. It was not always the case where all the Energy Star product categories had third-party certification, but it has always been the fact that the lighting portion of the Energy Star program has had third-party certification. Some of you might recall there was a tabloid magazine who put about, I think it was 17 products through the Energy Star program. Most of those products were accepted into the program because those did not have third-party verification, and this person, greatly exaggerated and misled the program through its documentations. And when these products were Energy Star certified, this was used as kind of a little bit of a baseball bat to beat up on Energy Star, to say, look how loose this program is. So almost immediately following that little bit of a media bang that Energy Star took, they implemented a third-party certification pretty much across the board. For us in the lighting industry, it's nothing new. We have had that since day one, and that's probably because there were so many foreign manufacturers, and the total number of manufacturers in lighting, I believe, exceeded any other category. So it was just so much to handle that they had a third-party certification process in place for lighting since day one. Now, they also have, for the lighting, is off-the-shelf verification. Now, the way that this works is Energy Star, really at their whim, I had for a while belonged to a group of people who made recommendations on which product should be off-the-shelf verified. And it's a pretty loose process. In other words, it's not hard to get a product on that list. Now, when a product gets on that list, the manufacturer of that product has to pay for that testing, and that's part of what they agree to when they become an Energy Star partner. So not only is there third-party certification required before the product gets on the Energy Star list, but then there's off-the-shelf verification that happens each year, and all the major, at least in the lighting, all the major players have one product or another that is off-the-shelf tested. Now, if the product off the shelf is proven to not meet the Energy Star requirements, that product is very likely to be taken off the list. So it's a good process to maintain the integrity of the Energy Star label and the Energy Star program. Now, the impact that it's had, and again, this is a non-mandatory, this is all voluntary, and basically they've got over 18,000 partners across all the different types of products that are in the Energy Star program. There's over 65 categories. Over 4.5 billion products have been sold in the past 20 years with the Energy Star label. So it's having an impact on its initial goals. I will say we are in the lighting industry. I focus on the lighting side of things, and when there's an Energy Star change to the specification or any kind of change, I try to stay on top of that. I have read beyond lighting from time to time, and just to give you an example how far from just reducing pollution and energy we've come, but today, as an example, if you were to put a washing machine, a closed washing machine, on the Energy Star list, it has to use a maximum amount of water. It can't exceed a certain amount of gallons per load. So it's the specification is really grown across all the fields and beyond just energy consumption. But whether that's a good thing or not is yet to be seen. But certainly for the lighting side of things, Energy Star has had a major impact on our industry, and I think it is meeting its goals. They should hold their heads up high with 4.5 billion products sold in 20 years. Anybody would be happy to have their label out there 4.5 billion times. What you should get from this is Energy Star is basically a residential voluntary program. Let's jump over to the CSD, also known as the Subcomponent database. Now, MaxLite enjoys a place on this database, and it is a voluntary. We could have our products listed or not. It's not mandatory. And the CSD, from MaxLite's point of view, is basically a place for OEMs who want to build Energy Star approved luminaires. It's a shortcut for them so that they don't have to develop all the subcomponents, the light engines, but they can go to the CSD, look for the type of light engine that's appropriate for the type of fixture that they're designing or manufacturing, and contact that manufacturer. And it's a shorter path to having your residential luminaire Energy Star listed. The CSD is designed to contain certified performance data. So all of this data is certified. And if you recall the NEMA/ALA lamp and ballast platform matrix, which is still widely used, CSD is like the same purpose that the NEMA list is for linear fluorescent fixture manufacturers. The CSD list is for residential Energy Star fixture manufacturers. So it serves that similar purpose. Getting your products listed on the CSD. Well, it does take a certified party to verify that your products meet a certain standard. Some components in the database are not Energy Star qualified on their own. They don't become Energy Star qualified until they are put in the luminaire itself, and that's important to understand. And because of that, they may not carry any of the program's certification or promotional marks, the logos and so on, and they may not refer to in their literature as Energy Star qualified or certified or approved, because in fact that doesn't happen until or unless it is tested within the luminaire that's to be Energy Star. Now there's one minor exception here. GU24-based lamps, which have an integral ballast and lamp combination, CFL, in general, these may also meet the regular Energy Star light bulb spec. So they can be a subcomponent for a manufacturer's residential luminaire, but they also can be sold as an individual bulb. So there are some exceptions where it could be on the CSD list and also on the Energy Star list. But that just means that if it is on the CSD list, it met that higher standard, as the CSD testing is a higher standard than the Energy Star bulb testing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Now let's talk about the CBs, the certified bodies. Now this is another third party that basically is, the certified body is acting for the government. They are doing all the work, and basically the CB should submit the product performance data to the EPA on the manufacturer's behalf. The certified bodies must review the subcomponent database. from the CSD when reviewing the luminaire for certification. So this is the next step. Once you've got your product on the CSD list, a luminaire manufacturer can go to that list to get that information. Now, lifetime data, because particularly with LEDs, lifetime can be very long on these products. In some cases, the testing and past programs, the testing procedure for verifying lifetime was longer than the marketability life cycle of the product. So it was a big problem. So what the CSD has done today for lifetime testing is the luminaire's specifications allow for an initial qualification, a conditional initial qualification based on the completion of a minimum lamp life testing requirements. It's a pretty easy test. You either pass or you fail. But that's not the end of it. Because they're giving you this conditional kind of early Energy Star approval when you match the light engine from the CSD to the OEM's fixture itself, there's still additional tests that has to be done. This provision requires that the full lamp lifetime testing be completed and the requirements met for the full qualification. And now, if the CB is not getting that data, or if that data proves that it's not meeting the requirements met for qualification, then it's immediately kicked off. So lifetime testing provision allows a reasonable amount of time to get your product onto the Energy Star list, but it also requires that the performance be maintained, and that's followed through. So it's a pretty good system, again, for maintaining the integrity of the program. Now, in order to list the subcomponent on the CSD, the CB or the certificating body shall ensure that all subcomponents listed in the database have met the following requirements. They all have to have transient protection. They all have to have electrical safety. That's more or less your UL, your ETL. They all have to be within a certain electromagnetic and radio frequency. That's your FCC testing. Also, lighting toxins reduction, labeling requirements, warranty requirements. It's a long list, and it's a high bar, frankly speaking. Any product on the CSD list has been vigorously tested. So let's go through a couple of major differences between the Energy Star qualification list and the CSD list. When it comes to the type of products, basically the Energy Star list is going to be screw-in bulbs, finished fixtures. If it has a base that screws in, or it hardwires to the final application, to the ceiling, to the wall, or it plugs into the wall, that's likely on the Energy Star list. If it's just the light engine itself, a GU24-based LED lamp or a GU24-based CFL, or a light engine where you have maybe a puck style or some other physical shape along with its driver set. So this is not a finished product one can use in their home, but it's a component for a fixture that they can use in their home. So that's one major difference. As far as the specifications, there's two different specifications that are out there. They read like the cure for insomnia, let me tell you, but they're, between 40 and 60 pages each, very, very detailed. And if you were to go through that, you would find that the CSD list is a higher bar than the regular Energy Star list. The market here is for Energy Star. It's basically the consumer market through retail, where with the CSD, this is more for manufacturers getting together with other manufacturers to make an Energy Star fixture. Products can show the Energy Star mark when it is on the Energy Star list, but they cannot show that mark when it's on the CSD list, although there is that exception of some GU24-based lamps that I mentioned earlier. The lifetime, it's a higher bar for lifetime. For instance, LEDs for Energy Star are 15,000 hour minimum. LED products for the CSD list is a 25,000 hour minimum. Even with the warranty, Energy Star requires 2 years for 15,000 hours or less, 3 years for 15,000 hours or more. The CSD list is 3 years minimum, period. Minimum efficiencies are higher for the CSD list, and some other major attributes. So it's clearly different. If you're not a manufacturer of a fixture looking to get an Energy Star certification, then you probably don't have a lot of use for the CSD list. Otherwise, you want to focus on the Energy Star list. Now, let's jump into the DLC, and then we'll end with the differences between the DLC and the Energy Star program. And I think that's why the majority of you have joined us today. I got a lot of emails and a lot of questions about the differences between the DLC and the Energy Star. So let's start with a background on who is the DLC, the DesignLights Consortium. Well, the DLC was a project put together by NEEP, the Northeast Energy Efficiency Partnerships, made up of New England utility companies. So that's its beginnings way back in 1996. Over its 14-year history, the DLC program has driven the lighting market basically by providing innovative information, education, tools, technical expertise. They've really done a lot for the industry with a focus on their region. Since 2010, I think we all know this, the DLC has become the guardian of the QPL, the Qualified Product List. This is the qualified products eligible for utility programs across the country. And we'll talk about how it expanded from a regional program to a national program. A little bit of the history on the DLC. When NEAT began the DLC in 98, it was really to develop a know-how series, a set of lighting guides for individual commercial spaces, such as office, retail, warehouse, those types of spaces. And it was aimed towards the contractors, the electrical contractors, the lighting distributors, as a guide to help them stay up to date on efficient equipment, mainly lighting. Best design practices, codes, and standards for commercial lighting. Commercial is the key here. Where Energy Star is a residential program, the DLC is a commercial space program. One of the major reasons that we're discussing this today is MaxLite has a product that's kind of a hybrid. There was a large project, outdoor lighting, clearly commercial space. They put in wall packs, area lights, floodlights. It was a major job. And they also put up a couple of security lights, what MaxLite calls the LED security light. Now, all of those products, except for the security light, are under the DLC program. And the security light, because it's considered a residential product or a retail-type product, that is under the Energy Star program. So it caused a bit of confusion. It was submitted under DLC, but it's not listed under DLC. And, well, what's the difference? If it's Energy Star, it should be DLC. And so that's rare that these jobs get mixed up, but it does happen, and that's why we're here today, to discuss the differences between the two. Now, the NEAT hand in our industry goes way back to 2006. I bet a lot of you recall the HP T8, the high-performance T8 lighting initiative that we all followed as manufacturers, and distributors from coast to coast bought and had these products installed under the HP T8 program, which allowed for utilities to separate quality products from non-quality products, and they knew which products that they could rebate, and it was those that met the HP T8 standard at the time. Well, within 2 years of the Northeast Lighting Distributor, the NEAT program, in enforcing the HP T8, it spread across the country. And today there's over 30 states, I believe, that are utilizing DLC list. In 2008, the LED benefits were really obvious. Energy Star was focusing on residential products. The DOE program, so known as the Solid State Lighting Program, was really working with the individual LED manufacturers for efficacy and quality increases and the like, but there was no focus for these commercial spaces. So 2010, NEAT launched the DesignLights Consortium Qualified Product List, known as the QPL. To get your product on the QPL meant that you had to meet a certain requirement. That requirement was proven through third-party testing. And within a few months, programs from the NEAT region, they were asked if they could participate from as far away as the West Coast. So it just shattered as a Northeast phenomenon. And today, DLC is in over 30 states. It's got over close to 20,000 luminaires on their QPL, and there's over 250 manufacturers who are participating in the program. With the third-party verifications, with the very tight and stringent controls, even if I was not in one of those 30 states, even if there was no program for incentives, I would still look to the DLC list because it represents a high minimum standard, a very high minimum standard. Let's look at the differences, or the main differences, between the DLC and the Energy Star program. Both are voluntary. The Energy Star program is part of the EPA and the DOE, well, the DesignLights Consortium is a collaboration of utility companies. So one is government and one is quasi-private. The purpose of the Energy Star is to help consumers save money and protect the environment through energy-efficient products and practices. The DLC is committed to raising awareness of the benefits of efficient lighting in commercial buildings, much more narrower scope. Information on the Energy Star labels products in more than 60 categories. I believe it's 65 categories today that meet strict energy-efficient guidelines set by the EPA and the DOE, and then is verified through third party, where the DLC products are not generally covered under Energy Star program. I know that they work hard to make sure that there's no overlap. Also requires third-party testing. The products covered under the Energy Star program concerning lighting are residential CFL light bulbs, LED light bulbs, residential luminaires, whether they be portable or hardwire, decorative light strings, also known as Christmas lights, ceiling fans with light kits. Now, on the DLC, products are generally roadway, parking garage, area lights, wall packs, so it's very, very different focus. Also, the markings are very different. Look for Energy Star when you are working with an Energy Star rebate. Look for DLC when you're working through a DesignLights Consortium utility rebate. And then, of course, the contact information is different for both because they're very different programs. So I hope today we cleared up some of the questions you had about the difference between Energy Star DLC and Energy Star and the CSD. Got a couple of other quick things that I'd like to review with you all. Let's jump over to the last couple of slides. I want to remind you all that the MaxLite Utility Rebate Finder is in place and growing quickly. Close to 300 utilities are now in there. If your utility is not in there, contact us and we'll find out what products MaxLite has that are covered under that utility program. MaxLite's Return on Investment Calculator, great tool for everyone. Drop-down menus make it very, very simple to use. We've expanded it by having a simple button pushed and then all that information gets sent right to your email box. University.maxlite.com. Thank you all for joining. We have some recent graduates. Congratulations to those and new students every day. The Earn Your Lighting degree is like any other online university, except it's completely free. This is not a MaxLite focus, but it's a lighting focus, completely non-commercial. And for those of you who use the MaxLite training modules, whether you view them online or download the PowerPoints that we have available for each product category, there has been a massive update. About 20 modules have either been updated or created in the last couple of weeks, so have a look over there. Last but not least, if we can help you in your sales, if the MaxLite Training Department can aid you in your sales, give us a call. We'd be happy to host a lunch and learn, a breakfast and learn. We can do this on-site, but most often we do it online. This can be a focus on specific MaxLite product or a broad overview of our product. Or if you need it, less of a focus on the MaxLite brand and more of a focus on LED technology or even general lighting training if that's what's required. Custom presentations for you and your customers and your staff. So call on us at gmurphy@maxlite.com or contact your local rep or sales manager. Folks, thank you all for joining us. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If I don't talk to you between now and the end of the year, Happy New Year to you and yours. Take care, everybody.